Love has taken a seat at the table.
Didn't ask for the seat.
It didn't.
Just took it.
It just took.
I had a status on Facebook that said, Lord, whatever you're doing this season, don't do it without me. That song got me through the hardest career season of my life.
Nah.
The things that I navigate and conquer. I conquer through tears.
I have always had home in the sense of the walls, but an experience of home is very different. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pursuit of Freedom podcast. This is our very first episode, and I am excited to have you here. I'm excited to be doing this, and I promise myself I'm not going to cry. So hold your thumbs and cross your fingers for me. So I have a friend of mine today. Her name is Siyasanga Mlandu. Siyasanga Sivuyisiwe Mlandu. And we are going to have this first podcast episode on love, loss, and lamentation. But firstly, I must tell you where Pursuit of Freedom comes from and what this podcast is going to be about, the concept of pursuing freedom. And the words pursuit of freedom were words that I got, must have been 5 years ago. And 5 or more years ago. And it was a prophetic word that I got from someone that I hold very dear. And Usis Tabs was like, I don't know what these words are going to be. And at the time, I was writing my books, 3 books at the time, right? And Sis Tabs was like, I don't know whether this is going to be a book title, but God just said Pursuit of Freedom. So I took it, but I think there's times where you hear words and you're just like, I don't know, there's something about this, right? So I took those words and I remember creating a folder in my computer called Pursuit of Freedom. And I didn't even know what that was then going to become. And from that year, I think it must have been 2018 or 2017, end of 2017. And every time I'd open my laptop, go to particularly my books folders, I'd find this folder, Pursuit of Freedom, but it had nothing. And then it so happened that in 2021, in my first year of marriage, we were living in Port Elizabeth, and it was such an interesting time for me because it was such a beautiful time transitioning into something that I had always prayed about, had always desired as a child, being married, having a family. But I was also experiencing a lot of loss, right? Loss of people. I had experienced loss of people, COVID and everything, but I was also experiencing a sense of loss of self as I was transitioning into being a wife and learning what's expected of me as a wife, etc. And then Sanga came along. And Sanga had always been a person who does 100 days of no alcohol. And I know that for some, that may be a difficult thing to do. But Usanga had always been, for as long as, because I've known you now for almost 10 years now. So every year, Sanga would do 100 days. Not at the same time, but always around the time your brother had passed on, right? So what's that?
Usually around November.
Around November. So she'd always have this 100 days. And to me, that was like absurd. And that doesn't make me an alcoholic. But to me, it was an absurd idea to be off alcohol for that long. And also maybe because alcohol was not such a big thing for me, you know. But I remember the years prior to when I joined, which was probably because I joined 2021, so it must have been around 2019. I kept on saying to you, when you're going to do your 100 days, tell me. And you wouldn't tell me. And I kept on saying, tell me. You wouldn't tell me. And then we meet for lunch and she's like, oh no, I'm off alcohol. And now she's in the middle of it, or like it's a few weeks into it and boring. But 2021, I came to Joburg. But hadn't we started? I came to Joburg and you had just started, right? And you hadn't told me that you were going to start. Yes. And I was wearing black. Do you remember? Actually. Came to Joburg and you had, was it a few days in?
I think it was like a weekend.
It was a weekend, yes.
I think it was a weekend.
Yes. And I felt the urgency. I was like, I have to hop onto this, even if I'm going, because I think I was 2 weeks later than you guys, ne? Or a week or in a few days, yeah. But I was like, I cannot miss this. I cannot miss this. And I didn't know why I couldn't miss this. And then I go back to PE. We are on 100 days, and it's basically 100 days of no alcohol, 100 days of consistent prayer. It's 100 days of consistent reading the word. It's 100 days of eating healthy. What else was there?
Just 100 days of overall wellness, but also just being fully present.
Fully present, yeah.
I think that's what 100 days represents for me. It's being fully present.
Sure.
You know, when you're fasting, excuse me, you are very intentional. So that's what 100 days is. It's the intention. So if you're saying for this 100 days, I'm intentional about staying off social media,
Sure.
then it's an action on your part to say, oh, I can't go in. You know, it's an intention on your part. Just also in terms of, because I find that sometimes when we fast, we focus so much on what we are giving up. You know, the things we are not doing anymore, the things that we don't want to do.
Sure.
But then with 100 days, I'm intentional about also the things I want to do.
Yes.
So that can be having a gratitude journal, for example. So I'm intentional about finding good things that are happening. You know, I'm intentional about if the anniversary of my brother's death falls throughout that time, I'm intentional about saying, I didn't cry today. You know, I did something that my brother would appreciate today. You know, I went to visit his grave today. So 100 days then becomes less about punishing the flesh.
Sure.
And more about aligning your spirit.
I love that you say aligning your spirit, because what then happened that year, I feel like my postpartum also came quite late, or I maybe acknowledged or recognized it quite late.
Yeah.
So I was way overweight at the time. I remember the first time I could cross my legs, and I sent you a text and I said, today's achievement was that I could cross my legs, right?
I remember.
And so this was this journey. And so in starting this 100 days, what then began for me was an intentional journey of coming home to myself. And I mean, I at the time I wasn't connecting it, particularly at the beginning, but I recall a morning when it made sense, and why Pursuit of Freedom, and why it then made sense that time was that I woke up and I had kind of been praying and lamenting. Interesting that lamenting, praying to God for this particular breakthrough, and I was praying for. Actually, it was a time where Usive was interviewing for the role that he's in. And I was very intentional about waking up at 3 a.m. during that period and praying and adding that to the prayer list and all of these things that I was asking of God. But I remember asking God where I am, where's my purpose?
Yeah.
Because it felt like I was giving to everyone and to the different roles that I had,
Correct.
but I couldn't find myself there. And God was like, but everything that you're doing is exactly that. You're coming home. And it was even more significant because you know that, but you guys may not know, is that the concept of home for me is a very tricky concept.
Sketchy.
It's a sketchy concept. And it's a sketchy concept because I have always had home in the sense of the walls, but an experience of home is very different. And as I grew up, started working, there were different changes within my family that meant I couldn't go home to the physical structure, right? And so my husband then comes from a home that is not just the structure, but is home for him. Like when my husband says he wants to go home, you must know, like we are goduka, you know, a place of rest, a place of solitude, a place of being taken care of, right? And because I was married into the family, his home was not my home in that sense.
Correct.
Because dingumakoti apa, I am learning my way here. And it's not to say that the home itself was not created for me to experience home. But because of the role that I occupy as I get into the space, it's not home, right? And I mean, Sivia's home is very much my home. But when you understand where I come from, you would understand why that home. And I had always thought that once I get married, I would easily slip into comfortability of, oh, this is our home, right? So then God was like, you're looking for home in the walls. The home is not the walls. Home has always been with you. And thinking about that morning where God said, home has always been with you, was an enlightening and life-changing moment, because if home had always been with me, it also has meant that I have walked around not belonging, feeling like I do not belong, not knowing that I've always belonged.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And so that's what 100 Days did for me. And the reason why I wanted us to have this conversation is because in the concept and everything that is becoming Pursuit of Freedom, you have somewhat been a vision doula for me. And I use the word vision doula deliberately because Sisvuya, as I've shared with you, had given me the name vision doula because of who I am as a coach, right? And the work that I'm called to in my purpose. But I think everybody needs a vision doula. Everybody needs someone who's going to hold you as you birth your vision.
Correct.
Right? And I believe and know that you've been one of those people who have been present in every season of my life, but also have been present in the different things that I've birthed. Right? Because in the past 10 years, which is actually the majority of where my purpose work has been, there's not a time where you have not been there, you know, helping me birth the thing, helping me think about the thing. And this is how we're here today, because you also made me now recognize that, oh, that's the thing, right? And so I got that aha moment that morning. You've always been home. Home has always been you. And basically, I've always carried home everywhere I went. And that time I was looking for it on the outside. And then it dawned on me that that was Pursuit of Freedom. That's what Pursuit of Freedom was all about. It was about getting people and myself to come home to themselves. Because you've always been home. You've never not been home. Home is not the place that you point to it's the place that you are, right? And so that's how Pursuit of Freedom basically was birthed. And it then started as a course that I created, which you were part of as well. And I knew that it would eventually become bigger than that. Yeah. And then something said it has to be a podcast. And then I said to you, let's do a podcast, but it wasn't going to be Pursuit of Freedom. And I want us to talk about that. You not wanting to do a podcast with me, but here we are now.
Maybe me not wanting to do a podcast, not with you, just as a concept, but okay.
You not wanting to do a podcast with me because I knew that we have to have a conversation. And I remember saying to you, how nice would it be for other people to get to experience the conversations that we have?
True.
And it's so special that we're doing it today. And so this is a sneak peek of my friendship and how our conversations go with Siyasanga. And it's also me sharing her with you, which I'm jealous of. Because everyone deserves a Siyasanga.
Amen.
An intelligent, intuitive, thought leader. Oh, Siyasanga, present, ever present. You deserve a Siyasanga. And it was that Siyasanga that helped me bring life to the thing that God had prophesied so many years ago, right? So I say to you, let's have a podcast. And what do you say?
I don't do those things. But strangely enough, weeks, months, years even post that conversation, I had a thought drop in my spirit. I think it was some months ago. Yeah, some months ago. So I'm sitting there in my study, doing my work. And then I have this thing that, I need to have a sit down with Osima. And I think because it was such a clear instruction, I've never been one of those girls that say things like, the Holy Spirit said to me, I've never been those girls.
So you've always listened to me say those things and
and I mean, I'd appreciate it when people say that, because I don't know. And I think also it just comes from just this thing of humans being so complex. There are certain things that you don't necessarily associate with yourself.
Gotcha.
So, for example, because I don't necessarily pray in tongues, I might then diminish my relationship with God,
Got you.
So I think it was one of those when this thing dropped in my spirit. I'm like, I'm those girls now. The Holy Spirit speaks to me. I'm like, oh, okay. So the message was clear that we need to have a conversation, particularly around grief and navigating grief.
You specifically said
yes.
we have to have a conversation on love and grief and the in-between.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And I didn't think about it. I didn't have a clear vision of what this conversation would look like. Right? And immediately when it dropped in my spirit, I sent you the message.
Yeah.
And I think that was also God's plan because I don't like being on the forefront of things. I want things to happen. I want things to work, but I don't need to be
seen.
No, I can make them work, So I think it was testament to how it was God's time. How, when it dropped in my spirit, I immediately sent it to you to say, look, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know what it looks like, but this is what you're doing. You'll tell me where you need me, how, what I need to do, type of thing. So yeah.
You see what's special about that, and I've said to you that's one of the things that I'd love to highlight today. The idea of when things happen or when you get a word, right? When you get a word, and it's Habakkuk that says, write the vision down, and it may tarry, right? But when you get a vision or a word and it begins to tarry, so it takes a long time, it's very easy for us to give up.
Correct.
Because between the time I had the words, and remember, it's just words, pursuit of freedom. And where pursuit of freedom begins to have a life is about 5-6 years in between, right? And even then, when it begins to have a life, it starts out as something completely different to how I had thought it would be.
Yeah.
Right? But I always say, you as my friend know this, but anyone who has ever heard me speak will know that I have this term, God is always in the details. Because we spoke that time when it was the 100 days thing, and it was like pursuit of freedom, coming home to yourself. And then I said, let's do a podcast. And you were like, no, I don't want to be in the front. So fine, I let it go. And then while I am busy thinking about, and I had spent specifically the podcast, I'd spent 2 years researching, thinking about the podcast, designing things for the podcast. Like I had spent time, right? Buying equipment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But something was just not giving me the push to say, it's time. Now it's time. And I recall, because I didn't know, I knew what the podcast would be.
Yeah.
But I needed a beginning.
Correct.
And I didn't know what the beginning was going to look like.
Yeah.
And so as you are
you making me cry so early?
I'm so sorry. So as you are sending me a text on, we should have a conversation about this, I'm in the middle of thinking about what is this podcast going to start and look, or like, I just couldn't feel it, right? But even when you sent me the text, I was like, I acknowledged the text, but I didn't know what it was going to be. And then I was like, okay, cool, we'll do. And she specifically said, we have to have a conversation on YouTube. And that was the trigger, because Sanga doesn't like anything that is front facing. Like she really doesn't. So when she said YouTube, I knew this is God, right?
It's time.
And then as you are now saying, okay, let's do this conversation on YouTube, I'm like, okay. But it still doesn't drop that it's going to be the podcast. And it must have been a few weeks down the line.
Yeah. When you came back.
When I came back to you, because that day, the Holy Spirit woke me up in the morning and said, that conversation, that's going to be the beginning of the podcast.
But also, I think, Sima, I pride myself in having intimate relationships with the people in my life. So even when someone's message comes through me, I realize just how close-knitted we all are.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's such a... I'm having goosebumps as I'm thinking about it. It's such a deep thing, that when you are pursuing your freedom, but you're also pursuing who you are and your purpose, really, that God can place the right people in your life, but also for it to be clear, this is who you should be doing this with.
Yes. And there has never been a doubt.
Correct.
In me.
Correct.
That you have always been an instrumental vision doula in this entire thing. Because if you remember, even with the course, when we launched the course, we did live conversations, and you were the first people I had a conversation with. So when God then says, that's going to be the beginning, then I said to you, okay, so this is what God has said.
Yeah.
And since God has said this, we need to now start moving on this.
Let's do it.
And what actually was surprising to me, which dropped simultaneously with this is the conversation you're going to have the person with, was also a revelation on how you were the perfect person, not only to help me birth this, but you're such a planner. You're such a planner. And I also felt like God was somewhat rebuking me at the same time. That when we are in relationship, and it speaks to this thing of being intertwined, when we are in relationship, we ought to be so in tune that you know how to leverage off each other.
Correct.
And I realized that I hadn't I've leveraged on you as a person, but I don't know if I've leveraged on you and your skills. I haven't. And I know you've leveraged on my skills because we've coached before.
Yes.
But I realized that I haven't leveraged on your skills. But I knew that I was going to leverage on your skills on this because I didn't know where to start. And I knew that because of your attention to detail, you're going to help this thing that's been 2 years in the waiting come to life.
Oh, thank you.
And so we're here.
Hey, guys.
We are finally here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being who you are.
Aww.
Thank you for loving me so deeply and being there in every season.
Thank you.
We couldn't have been here without you.
Aww.
So basically, guys, that is the beginning of what Pursuit of Freedom was. It started out as just a phrase that I got from a spiritual sister that God built along the way, right? And so as we now begin the conversation on love, loss, and lamentation, I want to ask you, in the past 10 years,
Okay.
what has pursuing freedom looked like for you?
Sure. Pursuing freedom has looked like many things in different seasons. Currently, I'm on a sabbatical, so pursuing freedom for now looks like owning all 24 hours of my day.
Sure.
Is going to the gym like I'm a housewife at 10 a.m. You know, it's
let's bookmark pin.
You know, so at this point in my life where I'm on this career break, you know, it means I can rock up at gym at 11 and there's 20 of us, both downstairs and upstairs, you know. It means I don't need to go when it's rush hour.
Gotcha.
It means I can take my clothes to the laundromat on a Monday morning instead of a Saturday morning. You know, it means that I can go to someone's offices for lunch on a Wednesday because I've got time. You know, so it does look different in the different seasons.
Gotcha.
When I lost one of my closest friends in 2019, it looked like living again, being intentional about living. It looked like giving proof of life to the people I remained with, you know. So I think freedom looks different in different contexts. So for me right now, it's looking like what my sister always likes to say what you mean and mean what you say. You know, I've always been not one to rock the boat. So things would hurt me. I'm like, I'll take care of myself later. If everyone else is fine, then, you know. But now it looks like having to communicate that, you know, I don't think there's anything that anyone can do, but this is making me uncomfortable.
Gotcha.
This is breaking my heart, but it's not within anyone's control to fix it. You know, so freedom for me over the years has meant being more open and authentic, not just with myself, but with the people around me to give them the benefit to show up for me in a manner that I require at that time. So if I'm saying to you, I'm not well, but I need space, then it's communicating that.
Gotcha.
As opposed to letting you come over, but I need space, So freedom has been a colorful journey.
Okay. Okay.
It's been very colorful.
So it's been different things at different times.
Correct.
But currently it's owning your time.
Very much so.
And enjoying owning that time.
It's amazing.
Sana, and being present.
Right?
Like present. Because there's...
Right?
Yeah. I there's a day when we had breakfast. I don't know where we were. I think we might have been in Fourways. And you said this. No, we weren't in Fourways. We were at Polo Fields.
Oh, yes.
And then you said, the season is teaching you to be fully present.
Correct.
Because you recognize that you were never fully present.
Correct.
And that blew my mind. I'll tell you why it blew my mind. Because I've always considered you a present person. And maybe I considered you a present person because you always placed time to things and people to time. So you've never not, if there's something that needs to be done for me, for example, you will be there because you've planned to be there.
Correct.
Right? But I also recognize now that to simply plan to be there does not necessarily that you're there. Like you're fully immersed in it, right?
Exactly.
Because you could be there, but being pulled in different directions too, right?
Precisely.
And so I thought about that and I thought, this must be interesting because I'm going to meet, I knew Sanga, but I'm going to meet a 2.0 Sanga.
Okay, now.
Because then I'm going to meet a present Sanga as compared to the present Sanga that I thought you were.
And I think, Sima, it also comes, I think people who've experienced me during the sabbatical, like I've had to also reintroduce myself to myself during this time. And on this point of being present, I was out with my sister and my niece some months ago. And I think we're out on a Sunday for lunch after church. During the sabbatical, I'm back to being a student. So I'm doing my post-grad.
Educated girls worldwide.
So,
if you know. Because one thing about me, I believe in collecting certificates. Okay.
So we're out for lunch the Sunday. And I think I had a submission that week or exams are coming up the following week. So as we're sitting there, my sister then says, hey, we must go home. Kaloko is student. I'm like, relax.
I'm here.
I'm here. I'm here. So by saying that, what I was really communicating to her is that I knew about today. So I've done the necessary to make time for
Today,
this day.
And not to be rushing out.
Yes.
And Sanga, I've always considered myself as, not always, let me not lie. But I think in the past few years, having done the work, I have considered myself as a present person. No? But this year has felt odd for me, particularly with presence. It's only now where I feel, and it's October, I feel my feet are on the ground.
Yeah.
No? And I was reflecting on that a few days ago, that it feels like now the year is beginning for me.
Okay.
And God had said this to me probably not in September, just before September. Ne? Or must have been beginning of September. As I was, and I always remember when the Holy Spirit whispers these things. I was in the shower and the Holy Spirit says your year's about to start.
Yeah.
And I went to church that Sunday. It was a Sunday. Went to church that Sunday, and Mfundisi was preaching about the year beginning. So it's felt like a lot has happened this year, right? But I don't know if I have fully experienced all of it, right? And it's only now that I'm feeling all of it.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the losses. I'm feeling the joy. I'm feeling the mixture of all of it.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it now, né? As the year's beginning. And I'm also I'm filled with the excitement of now I can have an outlook. I can picture life differently for this coming year, which is something that I didn't do at the beginning of the year. And I always do that at the beginning of the year. So this year has been a bit odd for me when it comes to presence and mindfulness. Né? I mean, yeah, so mindfulness and presence has been and it's not that I haven't been. That's the other thing, is that and this brings us very nicely to like the different segments that I wanted us to, or the different themes that I wanted us to tackle. Because it's not that I have not been present, but I have been learning that love is connection, right? And if I'm being fully connected to myself, I have to surrender to the season.
Yeah.
And so in being a surrendered person to the season, I surrendered to all of the seasons.
Yeah.
And some of the seasons required for me to get outside of my norm. Yeah, which is what would have felt like outside of routine.
Correct.
You get what I mean? But that didn't mean that I was not connected to myself. Because to be connected to myself was also where I got the awareness that, oh, I'm different. I'm showing up differently. These different things that have happened have shaped me or are shaping me differently, right? And I mean, you know how frequent I'm such a gym bunny now. I wasn't always. But I'm a gym bunny. But this year, I haven't been great at that too, you know? So it's been interesting for me. And I'm curious as to when you look at love, because I look at love as it is the thing that expands you as a person, but it's also the thing that contains you.
Yeah.
How has love showed up for you as you have pursued your own freedom in coming home to yourself?
Love, I think it's important for me to start off by saying that the love that I've been given by my people has grounded me so much. It has taught me to love me better.
Okay.
Like, I think I have such solid people in my life who, when I look at how they treat me, it's a reflection of who I've been to them. So when someone holds space for me, when someone is at my house at 7 a.m., when someone is preparing meals for me because school is just hell week, it says to me that there is no way that this person will show up for me this way unless I have poured into them, unless I have given a part of myself to them. So when I experience the love from you guys, I love myself better because I then get to appreciate just how well I am with loving others. And then it teaches me to love myself better. It teaches me to love myself more. You know, I extend grace so much to others, but I punish myself more. So when I see you guys extending grace, then I'm like, okay, okay, I don't need to be so hard on myself. You know, I'm not gonna punish myself as badly, you know. So I think for me, the freedom to love myself more has come from being loved so well by you guys.
Well, we can close it there.
I really think so because, so just for context, I don't have kids, and I think the purest
You don't
form,
have kids and you're unmarried.
and I'm unmarried. Yes, I'm unmarried.
Just in case.
So
there's somebody out there.
you know, so with the kids issue, I've always appreciated how my girls share their kids with me. It's such a big thing. You know, I mean, one friend, I'm even the in case of emergency contact for the kids' school because when I show up, the kids know me. You know, so it's been such a beautiful journey, and I mean, I look at even my sister. My sister shared Umila with me, like from birth. You know, so that's one of the ways that I've grown to love me more.
Sure.
Because you guys keep giving me reasons to love Osanga more. You know, this is who Osanga is to us. So why can't Sanga be that to herself? You know, so and in that process, I then became more intentional about even dating myself. So I'd take myself out on a date, go for lunch, or 1 month I'd buy myself 2 extra books because that's how I want to show myself love that month. I've got another friend who says, you must go for a massage every month. You don't wait to just
it ought to be weekly.
Just
also.
go, right? So in that pursuit, you find these little joys that show that this is me loving me. You know, so sometimes it looks like going to the steam room for 30 minutes. And sometimes it looks like, you know, I realized, I think some weeks ago, that I've been doing well with spending time with my people, showing up and all of that. But I've kind of neglected that one-on-one with myself. Because I'm always out, I'm thinking that I'm taking myself out, which is not the same. You know, I'm not taking Usanga out to say, what are we doing today? So 2 weeks ago, I took myself out, Daya Air, Joburg Theatre, I watched a play, I came home, and I was like,
that was a great date.
That was a great date, you know? So it means different things even then, but I think the biggest contributor to me loving myself and seeing myself clearer has come from my circle.
Sana.
You guys love me fiercely. And it gives me no choice but to love myself better because you guys are so clear. You know, it's not, you know, when they ask you, why do you like this man? You're like,
He's cute.
You know, so my circle, they use their words as to why, you know, so yeah, that has been that's how love has shown up in my pursuit.
Wow. I feel like that's been, I mean, your experience has been everything we've experienced of you and from you. Just as I was saying, there's never been a time where you haven't been present any season, from homelessness.
Yes, I know.
From homelessness to having platforms, to marriage, to being pregnant, to having relationship breakdowns,
Everything.
There is no season
Everything.
in my life where you have not been present. And it is beautiful to hear you speak about loving yourself from a context of love poured into you.
Yeah.
Because the love poured into you has been all of the love that and it's fulfillment of scripture, really.
I think
you
so.
know, as whatever you give, you shall receive
Correct.
a double portion. What's that? 100. What's that scripture?
over.
Shaken together, you know, running over. That's literally what you've always been to all of us, you know. And also, it's weird how we are also unique, but you've loved us uniquely too.
Because I think, and I it's such an important thing that you're mentioning. We always pride ourselves in loving people, but are we loving people in a manner that they understand? Because, and I think it ties in with that whole love languages thing. You know, if I'm not a physical person, and a physical touch person, you holding my hand at the mall is not demonstrative of love.
It's probably irritating.
Like, you are annoying me to no end, you know? And also, if I'm not so, like, for example, I'm not much of a gifter. So I'm not, when I'm going to show you love, the first thing that's going to come to my mind is not to buy you a gift. But if I know that you appreciate gifts, then I need to then add on my personal touch to the gift.
Yes.
So I'm not going to go and buy you a bottle of perfume, for example, but it will be the first bottle of perfume you bought when you started working with your first million. This is what
There's
you
always
did.
a story.
Right?
There's
because
always a story.
At the end of it all, I'm also a writer. I express myself in words and all of that.
Did you hear yourself? You just said, I am always a writer. I'm also a writer. Did you hear? Nimvile? She's also a writer. Thank you very much for declaring it.
So I always need to tie it back to something, because also I'm very sentimental. You know, I'm very sentimental. Like, I'm a lover girl through and through, right?
Really
So when you are a lover girl, you love people in a way that makes sense to them, right? So sometimes loving you means that if you need an escape from being a wife, from being a mother, you come to my house.
Yeah, and you sit on the floor and you have a glass of wine.
If that's what you need, then that's what I'm here for, you know. So I think it also becomes important to not just love each other, but love each other with intention.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Love to me has meant embracing life with courage.
Okay.
And I think this courage thing comes up because I've always been the child, or not only so I was not shy as per se, but I was timid. Maybe timid is the right word.
Okay.
So I was never bold in any space, you know.
Okay.
I never showed up with see me, look at me type of thing, right? And I mean, it was an okay thing for me back then, but I also recognized that it came from a place of when you grow up in a space that forces you to be in the shadows, then you impose the shadows on yourself.
Correct.
In order for you to not be hurt that you're being pushed to the shadows, right? So love for me has looked like living life with courage. The courage to be myself fully wherever I am. The courage to say things even if they are uncomfortable. The courage to start things even when I don't know an example of it And I think the past 10 years has been that for me, of doing things that I've never seen anyone do in my close proximity, or even further than my proximity. Like, I've never seen anyone within my proximity be an author. And I did that, you know. I never saw anyone, and I always kind of put a pin on this, because it's not that business was never in my family, right? But it is the kind of business.
Okay.
And it's also the purpose of the business, right?
Okay.
Because the only person in my family who was a business person was umalume, right? And I had never looked at him being in business and thought, that's something I would like to do. And maybe it's because of the kind of business that he was in. But to be in business, be young in business, was weird for me, right? I didn't have an example. I didn't have anyone to call to say, what do I do with this? So everything that I've somewhat done has been non-traditional. And it's not because I wanted to be non-traditional. For the greatest part, I wanted to be very traditional.
Correct.
I wanted to be the girl who goes to school, gets her degrees, gets married, have your 2.5 children, and that's going to be your happy life. And in going into purpose, I then started being exposed to things that required courage from me, right? To be different, courage to speak differently.
Yeah.
Courage to think differently, right? So I think that's what love has been for me. It's been a lot of courage. And it continues to be a lot of courage, because it's also the courage to face your mistakes. And I've had many of those, you know about them.
We all have.
But also the courage to own your mistakes without shame.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay.
To own your mistakes without shame. That's what love has looked like for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. How would you distinguish between losing someone or something or being lost yourself? Should I answer first? Or are you going to answer first?
Okay, let me answer.
Okay.
Losing someone or something versus being lost.
Yes. Feeling lost or being lost.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking of a relationship I was in. Oh my goodness.
No, we still love them. Please, we still love them.
So I was with this man some years ago. Yeah, some years ago. I think it was, let's say some years ago. Let's put it there. And I deeply loved him. I really did. But
Kulondi from bed.
So so just for context, I don't have the best relationship with my mother. Right? I mean, we're civil, we make it work, but we're not the closest cure. And what that has translated to in romantic relationships is that there's that line where someone says, girl, you're doing too much. That's what happened particularly in that relationship. I did too much. You know, I did too much so that we don't break up. I did too much so that he doesn't leave. I did too much so. There was always a reason. And it wasn't until we had broken up and I started sharing with you guys what was happening during the relationship that I realized just how much work I needed to do and undo to come back to self. You know, to come back to being that girl who says, Friday doesn't work for me. Let's try another day. Instead of being the girl, hey, Friday doesn't work, but
I can make it work.
I can make it work because maybe he won't have another Friday to give me.
Sure.
You'll get. So, so in that relationship, I lost myself. But it wasn't until I had left that I realized how much of myself I had lost.
Yeah.
So in the process, I didn't know. I still thought.
What was the impact of that? Like recognizing
It was
that
painful.
you had lost yourself.
It was painful.
Also after the entire thing, because you're not even in it to redeem yourself while you're in it. Like
it's the past now. You know, that whole hindsight thing. It was painful. But it has helped me to show up differently.
Got you.
Even for myself, you know. So it has helped me to show up differently, which is a different experience to losing someone or something. Like I'd mentioned earlier, I'm always at the back foot of everything. So if you're good, I can make myself good, right? So when you lose someone, it's such a different experience, and it shapes you differently. When I lose myself in something or in someone, I know the work I need to do to get me back.
Oh,
right? Because I know the template of me. I know who I am at my optimum.
gosh, you oh my goodness.
Right?
Now I'm
So,
having so many.
You see, so I know what I'm working back towards.
Gotcha.
You know, it's like when you've gained weight, you know what you weigh generally. So you know what you're working back towards. When you cut your hair, you know how your hair grows back. You know, but okay, after 2 weeks, I'm still okay, but after 6 months,
anymore.
but you know, you know how to get back to self. But when someone is removed from your life, they had always been there. So awunayo ke ngoku point of reference. Awunayo ba, okay, I remember when then. So it's something that you have to navigate in real time.
So there's a version of you that ought to be birthed
Of course.
as you are, but I suppose in any in between of that, whether you're losing yourself, you've lost yourself, or you've lost other people.
Correct.
Is that one, when you lose yourself, if I'm hearing you correctly, when you lose yourself, there's a version of you that in the loss feels normal.
Correct.
And then only outside do you recognize Amani.
It's not the same.
Right? But then the version on the outside has to be a different version to the version that was inside.
Yes.
So something new has been birthed.
Correct.
In order to have an outlook on what was going on inside there in the relationship
100%.
context. And then in the loss of someone physically, because you have no reference of that person.
I've never been here before.
You are basically having to learn life differently.
Yes.
Because lo mntu akasekho.
And then I can't, there's no version of me that I can go back to.
Ndithi, I remember when. Okanye nansi template.
No, there's no
Got
version
you.
of me that I can go back to. So I lost my brother 12, what year is this, 2025? I've lost my brother 12 years ago in November. And at the time, I I didn't fully appreciate what the loss meant.
Okay. But also, how could you?
This is the thing, right? And what happened was, for the first, because my parents are quite old, so for the first year or two, I grieved my brother as the child my parents lost, not the sibling I lost. Because we were more concerned, my sister and I, with, are they going to pull through?
Oh.
So for that first year or two, it was just trying to, okay, the parents
Calming
are
the
okay.
storm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then it starts hitting you in little things that you've lost a brother. Because my brother was based back home. So he was closer to the parents, even physically. So now if my dad is ill, one of us needs to leave Joburg to go home.
Sure.
Whereas previously,
he would be the person to take care of all of that. Nithetha naye, actually.
So now it moves from buying yourself 2 days to make travel arrangements to buying yourself 2 hours to fix everything, to say, I need to take the next flight out because there is no one on the other side.
Oh.
So in that instance, there's no self that I can come back to, because when my brother was around, bendi last born a proper, between him and my sister, I was okay. So now one is removed, and granted, I'm still the last born, but I need to pull my weight more now.
To make space, to fill the space.
Correct.
Because you can't fully fill the space.
I didn't have to fill the space before. So there's no version of me that existed before he passed away. But there's a new version of me that then gets birthed with him being gone.
So how do you then, I mean, with reference to particularly the passing of, and I think we've all found ourselves there, where either you've lost yourself in a relationship or are losing yourself in a relationship, or you have lost someone, right? And I have found that it's funny because I experienced death at such a young age. I found that that's the first option for me. So if I can't get a hold of you, my mind goes, is she alive?
That's me.
And so that just even that on its own is enough to make people feel weird about you, right? But anytime I'd speak about death, people would feel like ngati I'm unfazed. And it's not that I have been unfazed. It's just that I have learned to, well, back then, I felt that I had learned to accept that this is the fate that I was dealt. So this is the hand that I was dealt, and therefore we move. However, the losses that I've had in the past 5 years have probably dribbled me, I don't know how many times more than the significant loss of my mom and my dad, right? And my great-grandparents. And I think the reason for that is because I was not conscious when they passed on. So conscious meaning I was not awake to what does this mean?
The significance
Of this, right? And I started feeling that significance when in milestones, particularly with my mom. It was always milestones. When you're going to go to a dance, when you are going to have an event, esikolweni, when you are like all of the big ones, matriculating, going to first year, then from first year graduating, then from graduating it's you starting your new job, like all of the big milestones. And then I discovered that in the middle of all of that was a sense of at every phase of your life, you experience grief differently.
Correct.
And as you experience grief differently, because you've never been to that phase, the grief is new.
All the time.
And so, like, navigating that for me was probably the wildest thing, because it took
It's
a while
mind-blowing.
to actually recognize about, oh, okay, so if I'm to have another child now, there's going to be a Smamkele who's got 2 children, who doesn't have a mother, who's going to be birthed, and is going to now experience life as a mother who doesn't have a mother and has 2 children.
Yes.
Like, it took me a while to figure that out, but I got to see the different phases that one then goes through as they are grieving. I also was able to distinguish, or maybe not distinguish rather, but to put people in their place. And that's with losing self.
Yeah.
Where I learned very quickly that if I am not going to be sure of what I want, but secondly, if I'm not going to say what I want, I'm going to be at a detriment.
Yeah.
And so, and if it is that what I want is not what you want, then let's part ways, right? And my superpower, particularly in relationships, was always, I'll hurt on my own. I'm not going to hurt while I'm in it.
Whereas
yours was.
It's the opposite. It's always avoiding being the girl who leaves too soon. So I leave too late.
Sure.
I'd always been that girl who leaves too late.
Girl, I left early.
Yeah, I'm learning.
I always left early. And it's not that it hurt any less. And maybe it might have been even more painful. I don't know, because also you can't put pain on a scale. But for me, it was always better that, in fact, I think maybe childhood trauma, I can see pain from a distance.
Yes.
I can see it from a distance, and I'm just like, you know what, we're not going to do.
We're not going to be
What we're not going to do is that. So then I would run from the pain. The detriment to that is that you often also will run from pain that's going to grow you.
Correct.
And pain is necessary for you to grow. Right? It's necessary. Not pain that is, particularly not pain that's inflicted by abafana bangayazi babafuna ntoni. But life in general is going to be filled with many trials and tribulations. And you can't run from everything that is threatening to be painful. Because there's a huge, like, imagine if I had run homelessness, for example, that period where I had tried to maybe sidestep. There's so much about me that wouldn't be me if I had done that.
I hear you.
So that's, in that context, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh. What do you think happens when we resist loss instead of allowing it to change us?
Sure. So one of the things that I've come to appreciate around loss is, I mean, I made the example of my brother, but sometimes we lose things and people that are still there, which I've always found to be more painful because death is final. Like, there's no undo button, right? But if I lose you as a friend and you're still roaming the streets of Joburg, it's a different kind of loss. It's a loss I need to navigate even through our circles.
This is like perpetual grief.
Yes, I pay. I pay because when people see you,
That's our bows.
yes, because you and me are one of the same, right? it's a different kind of loss, man. It's a different kind of pain, even. But I find that, shout out to my therapist. My therapist has helped me to be on such solid ground with myself.
Shout out to you, viewer.
Like,
you're amazing, viewer.
Like, she
we love your work.
Helped me so much. And I think the biggest lessons I've learned in therapy. Always fine.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. You know, I think what I've appreciated with my journey now is that she has given me the tools to not only be able to identify my feelings, but to also navigate them on a daily basis and what that looks like. So I can move from talking to you for 2 hours every day to not seeing you for 3 months. And I still need to keep it moving.
You need to live life.
Because as much as that's happening,
life is also happening.
You
are also happening.
Yes. I still need to study at school. I still need to go to church. I still need to be an aunt. I still need to be a sister. I still need to be a friend. It doesn't take away from everything else that still needs to happen. But then it becomes something that I deal with maybe in my private time. But also it becomes something that shapes me as I'm showing up with my other friends, with my other family members, with colleagues even. Because it's a loss that I have to navigate through, but also sit with. And it's also so important, Sima, that you allow things to change you. You allow things to change you because certain things don't leave us the same. I can't lose all my wealth and remain the same. I can't.
Or you can't gain all of the wealth in the world and remain the same. Yeah.
Right? You know, I can't. You can't be the same Sima before you were a mom, because there was a significant shift. And that's what loss does.
Yeah.
It shifts things. As much as gain does the same thing, it shifts things.
I suppose, though, our struggle is, and it's mostly in the mind.
Correct.
The mind finds comfort in normalcy, right? And anytime you're then going to have to shift to accept a different reality to what you thought was normal or what you knew was normal, that's where the struggle is, right?
True.
And you mentioned something really powerful about therapy, because I don't think that some people are willing to go through the journey of confronting the limitations that you have as a human being to live life with pain. Therefore, you need assistance in order to learn how to live. It's like basically if something happens to you and you like hurt your ankle, but you can learn to walk with the hurt ankle, or you can work to correct the hurt ankle.
Correct.
And there are people who are not willing to work to correct the ankle.
Precisely.
Right? And sometimes it's fear. I think about this, like I'm making an example about an ankle. I think this was the issue that I had with my knee. Because I used to be a runner. Now I'm a beginner runner. But I had the knee injury. And because I feared being told that I couldn't run anymore, I prolonged going to get help because I was scared of the words, girl, it's over for you.
It ends
Let it, like, you know? And I think that's the same freeze moment that people have, that I'm choosing to live with this pain because it is easier than me hearing that I will never be the same again.
And you make a point about trying to make a mind shift. So what has happened over the years for me is that if something is bothering my mind or my spirit and I'm blue ticking it, I fall ill.
Exactly.
So my
your physical body is going to, and that is what, but again, you're now bringing something up, which is how disconnected we are to ourselves.
Correct.
Right? And all of this links to this concept of coming home to yourself and pursuing freedom. Because if you are truly in tune with home, if you are truly in tune with living life in freedom, you will pay attention when your body is telling you something. But sana, siyahlala.
Me, I'm that person.
Siyahlala, and I noticed this for me, like it must have been years ago. In fact, when I started seeing the physical manifestations of not being okay in your heart when your soul is sick was after my mom passed on.
Okay.
Because I had mouth ulcers.
Okay.
I was depressed. And in fact, I was depressed, but I didn't know I was depressed. And then I had mouth ulcers. Then I went to the doctor. So I had mouth ulcers, I had stomach ulcers. So I went to the doctor, and then the doctor's like, have I seen a therapist? So then my granny's like, because also my whole life has been filled with social workers, story for another day. So my grandmother's like, no, not a therapist, but I've had a lot of engagements with social workers and stuff. And my doctor was like, this child is depressed because you cannot explain mouth ulcers in a 13-year-old. Like, that's non-explainable. I have no underlying issues or whatever. And that was the first time that I was then going to go to a therapist, right? But also, it would take many years for me to actually really heal. Because this is an example, this is 13. I would say healing, like proper healing for me probably came 10 years after.
I see.
Going to therapy and all of that. So it's not to say that the work was not done back then, but it's also to say that sometimes as you mature and get a revelation of all these different beings of who you are and experiences, you need more, right? And the more is one, an understanding of self, where you're just like, okay, I've tried this, it's not working. What else do I need? I've tried that, it's not working. I know I'm stressed. I've been running. Running is not working. So what do we now need to do more than what we knew to be the template?
Correct.
Right? The template example that you made. So yeah. I think we've spoken about loss and it redirecting you.
Yeah.
Because you said you have to allow.
Yeah. You must be open to it.
You must be open to loss redirecting you. You mentioned the loss of your brother, but you also, in the same note, also spoke about losing things and people, right? Who are not necessarily dead, but yeah. Are there specific things you have lost, or specific friendships, or specific people you've lost who are alive, and you look at those losses and feel, sure, I wish it could be different?
There's a friend of mine many years ago. She said to me, and she's a therapist, she said to me that relationships evolve. And at the time, I didn't fully get what she was saying. I mean, yes, I know relationships. Yes, I know what it means to evolve. But I didn't know in the true sense what that means. But I've held on to that. And funny enough, after some years, our relationship evolved. Right? We didn't have a fight or anything, but we slowly just started drifting apart and. And I think now we coming back to each other slowly but surely.
Yeah, evolve
again, you know. And there's friendships that I have completely lost. But yeah, I think it ties back to this thing of being sentimental, where like my car shares a birthday with an ex-friend. So how do I celebrate my car without thinking of her? You see. And then when I think of her, it's fond memories. You know, it's people who were there at significant points in my life. But I think what has helped me, Sima, is to, this year particularly, I'm big on the serenity prayer. I say it at least once a week.
Yeah.
I need God to consistently enforce that thing within me, that courage to accept these
things you can't
I cannot change. I cannot change certain things. And it's often painful. But I find that acceptance, it heals you.
It does.
It really, really, really heals you.
It really does.
It heals you.
Do you remember how you mentioned the tough relationship that you had with your mom? And I had a very tough relationship with my grandmother. Correct. Which you've been part of my life, so you know. And do you remember when I got into acceptance and I started like living in the forgiveness, not just to forgive, but to live in the forgiveness. And I remember how you said, how are you? I can't compute
to this day,
right?
To this day.
And I think it's very much anchored in acceptance.
I think
There
so.
is a reality that I had to get to with my grandmother specifically, where I was like, I recognize that you cannot love me the way I need or expect you to love me.
Okay.
Right? And I can't love you the way I want to love you. But I can love you in the way that you want me to love you.
Okay.
And when you're looking at it, it may seem like it's not a balanced scale. But once I started to do that, she looked at me and had the realization that I had about her. So a simple thing, like a practical example of that would be, there's conversations that if my grandmother was to have with me, I would just lash out. You know? And that's not necessarily to say that's me, but it's the anger and the hurt that's coming out. And then I learned all this person needs is an ear. She wants you to just listen.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that in you listening, you have to do anything about what she's asking you or what she's telling you, right?
You just need to listen.
Because also she knows your standpoint on this particular topic. So if we're talking about the traditional stuff, for example, she knows my position on that. So for her to constantly come is her inability to accept that that's not what I want.
Yes.
But what I can do is listen. And I realized that once I started doing that, it liberated me. Because
really
I accepted that, oh, you can't do this for me. You can't do what I am learning to do for you. Ne? And maybe you can't do it because you're old, your socialization, different generation. And for other people, it's unwillingness, whatever it may be.
Different reasons.
But that's a relationship that I would not be okay with her going to the grave with us being in friction. Now, there's relationships that then you do want to salvage. And with those that you want to salvage, then the question is this an exercise that you're willing to do? Where you are willing to lose some of your wants in order to preserve the relationship. And in losing some of your wants, you actually gain what you want. Because the person, basically it's, as I treat you, you learn how to treat me.
Correct.
Because then you get what you want without having to say, I want you to do, but you show up as what you want.
Yeah.
And in showing up as what you want, the person then learns that this is how I come to this person. And I think my grandmother has learned that. And it's made our relationship so much better and so much richer because I had the benefit of doing the work. And I look at it as a benefit of doing the work because it was not work that I did for her. It was work that I did for me. Yet it benefited our dynamic.
And also, I think on this acceptance thing, when I fly out, I need to be picked up at the airport.
Yes.
I need to be dropped off at the airport unless, I don't know, the world is burning and then, I'll get myself there. But I've got a friend that I know she hates airport drop-offs, but she'll be willing to pay for my Uber. So I then need to understand that this is how she shows up for me to say
and be okay with that. Yeah,
you won't be stranded in the corner, but I'm just not going to go to OR Tambo. That's not where I'm going.
And also OR Tambo is far.
Exactly, but you'll get there.
You'll get there safe.
You'll get there safe.
You'll get there safe.
You see,
I think that's also another thing is you must be willing to accept when a person is unwilling to do a certain thing or to show up in a certain way.
And it's not
malicious.
It's not malicious.
It's not malicious.
Yes.
It's not malicious. Yeah.
It's just
that's good.
That's not something really I do.
Okay. So on Lamentation, how have you spoken about how you've lamented for yourself in learning to love yourself the way that you deserve to be loved because you saw how we love you.
Yes.
Right? And how you've also learned to speak what you want, which I believe is lamenting for yourself. But how have you seen lamentation to be an act of freedom? Lamenting for yourself to be an act of freedom.
I first want to observe Lamentations in the Xhosa Bible. It says Lilo. I first need to start there. Izililo. It's that book in the Bible called Izililo. And I'm mentioning this because most of the things that I navigate and conquer, I conquer through tears. I cry my way through things. I cry when I'm happy. It's such a significant, this word that you've chosen, Lamentations. It's such a significant word for me because I navigate things through tears. I cry through things. I cry when the Holy Spirit gives me an instruction that I'm uncomfortable with. And even as I'm crying, there's a voice at Choiba. It's okay, Baungalila, but we still need to, you know.
It must be done.
So this act of lamenting is such a powerful term that you've chosen, Smamgele, and it's for me it's an act of solidifying all my learnings. The things that Viwe has taught me, the things that I've learned through spiritual encounters. on the spiritual encounters, Viwa and I had a joke some months ago where
Viwa is now part of the family.
Viwa is family now. Where I was telling her of a dream I had. Mm-hmm. So in this dream, someone is telling someone else that I'm not well. Mm. And I wasn't well. But because I'm not fully within myself, mm-hmm. I just figured it's something that is lungela. So someone had to come to me in a dream to say you are not well.
Sure.
And we're discussing how I need to be more intentional even with myself as I am with others, that I don't need to be told in a dream that I'm not well.
Sure. You ought to experience it and feel it. Yes.
That I'm not well.
Oh.
So part of our journey is trying to sensitize me more, because I loved when you mentioned how it's almost like death doesn't faze you anymore. My thing is...
it does.
Now it does. Now it does. For me, my thing is I don't take into account the things in between. So for me, it's either you are alive or dead. There's no in between.
Oh.
So for me, even when I'm feeling pain, my thing is, I'm going to die anyway. But what about the in between? So we're on that journey to feel the in between.
You know what? And it really, this is a conversation that had to be had. On, I think it must have been my grandmother's birthday.
Okay.
Because I posted a status on WhatsApp.
Yes.
Then someone commented about a line that I used, and they were like, I really enjoy your reading, and it's inspired me to go back to read your books and stuff, But there's a line that I used there that I think I wrote a piece that I sent to you. Love has taken a seat at the table.
Correct.
And for context, was it 2 years ago? Malume passed away 2 years ago. Then Mblaza passed away a year ago. Yeah. So in the past 2 years, we've had losses one after another in my mother's family, which are my grandmother's siblings. And because I come from a family, particularly in my mother's side, that is functional, dysfunctional, there's been a lot of tension amongst the siblings and the family, right? And as a result, I'd say I'd grown up solo, because everyone was in their own silos, each one looking out for their own kids and all of that. But I remember when Umblaza passed on, was my grandmother's younger sister. Oh, no, actually it wasn't Blaza, because Blaza passed away after Malume.
Yes.
It was Malume who passed on. We call him Malume, but he's technically my grandfather. When Malume passed on, I experienced the most painful kind of grief that I had ever experienced. And it crippled me. And I didn't understand why it crippled me. And literally couldn't work, I was just struggling. And part of the struggle was, how am I feeling pain for someone who brought so much pain? To my context, right? Because it doesn't mean all of who he was a person who brought pain to everyone. But my experience of him has got a large part of pain, but also certain pleasures. Because my love for music, I've come to know as I've healed, comes from Malume. My love for jazz, my love for soul music comes from him. I'm such an old school because I listen to Ringo's or Jonathan Butler's and all of that because of him. So I was battling with that, right? I was battling with this concept of how do I grieve or feel pain for someone who I had felt for many years had brought pain? And unfortunately, the mind also does that thing of it leans more to the pain than it does
To the good
to the
stuff.
good stuff, you know? So then it literally paints the whole picture as black and you won't see the white dots, you know? So I'm going through this thing, but I don't have words for it. You know, I've healed when I begin to have words for things. So Malume's passing goes on. That year is not great. And also they passed on at the same time. No, Blaza, around the same time. Blaza passes on. And Blaza passes on the following year, just a week after I started school, I think.
Yeah.
Ne? A week after I started school. And the day Blaza passed on, I got the words. Because the feeling I had, no malume, it came back.
You had been there before.
I had been there before. And then, as I was questioning the feeling, the answer that came was, love has taken a seat at the table.
Didn't ask for the seat.
It didn't.
Just took it.
It just took a seat. And I have discovered that that's what grief is. Grief is love taking a seat at the table. Grief is love saying, amidst all of the pain, more than anything was love. And I'm trying to find a place because you don't have a place for me. And that's because you don't have a place because you closed yourself to it. And it connects to what you're saying on the disconnect with ourselves is that you then don't begin to feel, right? You don't feel when you're sick. I was so conscious when Umalume passed on because I was like, this is not normal. This feeling that I'm feeling is not normal. It made me physically sick, but it wasn't the physically sick etia to the doctor. It was an internal soul sickness, right? Sickness. And that for me was the thing that was like, how do you then become conscious in living life as if love is on the table, is at the table all the time?
I miss the pain.
I miss the pain.
I miss the loss.
I miss the loss.
I miss the grief.
I miss the grief. Because if we can be conscious that love is forever at the table, we wouldn't even miss ourselves.
I think that's something then I would have to learn because I remember when my brother passed away, I distanced myself from God because he had hurt me.
Because you thought he hurt you.
He had hurt me.
You thought he hurt you.
He had hurt me. And I remember during that time, just leading up to November, and every year when this memory comes up on Facebook, I just want to scream because I think like a few weeks before my brother was gone, I had a status on Facebook that said, Lord, whatever you're doing this season, don't do it without me. I have never uttered those words again because I'm just like, challenge accepted. So now I'm there like, let's move.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So I have these 5 questions.
okay.
I love what you said though about lamenting for yourself in tears. I think having you knowing me.
Yeah, you are a bigger cry than I
lament
am.
in tears.
Oh.
I lament in tears, guys. I lament in tears in the good and in the bad. And actually, if I don't cry, you must know there's something wrong. If I don't cry, you must know there's something wrong because I have also learned to stop shaming myself for being that person.
Yeah.
Who actually laments in tears. Because also growing up in the Black community, when you cry, which is also something I'm figuring out in motherhood as well, that how do we create space for tears?
We don't.
We don't. Even me as a mother, sometimes I'm just like, Lucia, stop crying.
Not now. We don't have time.
Right?
We don't have time.
But I also recognize, and it also goes to speak to how different we are as people, is that I've also recognized how tears bring different reactions to people.
Yeah.
And it's so important. And this is probably something that even someone at home can do, is that even if it's your tears or someone else's tears, pay attention to how you react. What's happening to you when those tears come? Do they make you uncomfortable? Do they make you angry? Because it's a you problem more than it is the person who's crying.
Yeah.
You know? And I've noticed that with Luhle even, because Luhle is such a crier. And I mean, I'm a crier, but my daughter's like 1,000 times, like Luhle will cry. And I began to see that my frustration with her is that I don't know how to create space for her tears when she also doesn't have the words to describe what's going on
within herself.
Yes. So then, because I don't know how to fix the problem so that she doesn't hurt, it's not that her tears don't scare me. It's, I don't know how to fix the thing behind the tears because you're also not articulating it. Or sometimes you've articulated it, but it's impossible to do, right? So I think it's just an exercise that people can do. Okay. As we're wrapping up. I've got fire questions, but I'm also curious, if you don't want to ask these questions to me, then we can have an interaction on that. So 5, coming home to yourself. You can ask those questions to me. Or you can phrase them however you want to ask them.
All right. What practices help you to reconnect to yourself?
Exercise.
And to recenter.
Exercise in the physical form. Okay. It is reading the word.
Okay.
It's praying. It's meditation.
Okay.
And those are different things. To meditate is to sit still with yourself and with your thoughts.
Okay.
Meditation. It is exercise. Did I mention it? Might have. Journaling.
Okay.
And reading.
Okay.
Those are the things that anchor me. If I don't do that on a consistent basis, I lose my footing.
Okay.
And in loss of footing, it means I'm not clear and conscious. So I'm not
in sync.
I'm not in sync with myself. So those things integrate me every day. Then there's the other stuff, bubble baths and stuff that all these people like self-care. Self-care is not the thing, guys. That's not the work. Self-care is the fruit of the work.
Yeah.
Self-care it's that thing you were saying earlier on before we started recording, where you said the process of engaging in the self-care is an intentional process of you saying, I'm going to slow down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And my point to that was, then it's not the self-care, because the self-care is the fruit of the work that you've done, because you've become conscious that your struggle is slowing down.
Yes.
Right? So then the question then becomes, where you must do the work is, what's causing me to not slow down? That's the part that you do the work in. And that's why I've always said that we get the soft life by doing the hard things.
Of course. 100%.
Yeah. So those are the things that I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What song do you think grounds you?
Ooh.
And it doesn't have to be a gospel song. Like there are songs that, you know.
I don't know if it's possible for it to not be a gospel song,
you know. Like those songs that can wake you up from a coma. Like for example, for me, it's Eminem's Stan. If you play Stan and I don't wake up, it's
then
okay.
You're dead.
I'm gone. I'm not coming back.
Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah.
I'm such a music person that I don't know if there's one song. I can maybe pick 3 songs.
Okay.
In the season, there's a song by, I've forgotten her name, but it's When I Dream in Color. Do you know that song? It's one old soul.
Son.
That song is such a season song for me.
Okay.
This is the season for me to dream and dream in color and do in color.
Okay.
This is why we're here.
Okay.
Right? So that's the one song that would definitely wake me up. Ringo Madlingozi he's got so many songs. But there's a song in his album, I think it's Ntumba, that says Medune Bochendive. Like, and I don't even know what it means.
But it speaks to you.
Kutsi nai nai bogen kumere. Like, imagine, like those lyrics make no sense. But that song is special because it connects me. The first time I heard that song was when we were at my great-grandparents' home.
Okay.
Malume was playing that song. Malume has always been a Ringo person.
Okay.
Hence, I love Ringo. And it was, Ringo had just released the album. I remember the joy that everyone felt listening to that album, but particularly that song.
Okay.
It like his lyrics make no sense. There's parts in the song that you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Where it says, "Usoloku wedwa ngathi nomvandedwa unabona bahlobo wathula kangaka." Right?
Such a
There's
powerful line.
yes. But that song could wake me anytime.
Okay.
Okay. The third one, it must be Benjamin Dube, honey. It must be Bishop Benjamin Dube. And it probably would be, I love all of Benjamin Dube's albums. You could play all of them and I could wake up.
There's a song he did with, I think, Matema, I don't know who else, or Reveal Yourself. That song got me through the hardest career season of my life.
Nah? Yeah.
I play that song when I get in the car.
And the live version for me is the one that, like, yeah.
And
So
plead
any
with
song,
God.
yeah.
Basana ziveze. Because sometimes you don't know what you ought to be doing.
Yeah. So those are my songs. Those are, yeah. And I suppose even if you just play, that one song, Dream in Color, just that one song, because I don't know, I haven't listened to the whole album.
Okay.
But Ringo and Benjamin Dube, you could play any song from them and I would be on.
If you were to speak to your younger self about freedom, love, loss, and just what the future has been like, what would you say?
Ooh. You've never not belonged. You've never not belonged. It was a lie that you don't belong because you've never not belonged. That's the first thing I'd say. The second thing I would say would be you are more than whatever you think you are right now.
Okay.
You are more than whatever you think. You can do more than whatever you think right now. And you will be so proud of yourself when you look back because you were never scared to go into your soul.
Okay.
Yeah. What would you say to your younger self?
Hey, kuseza baraf mntasekhaya. You know? No, I think that's God's honest truth that it really would be just a warning about Sanalam type of thing. I think I've had an overall good life. It has helped to have older siblings. My sister is 14 years older than me. And what my sister has done, even as I'm growing up now, is she still creates space for me to be last born.
That's so sweet.
So even when it's rough, I know I can just go home to my sister's house and be like, yo, I'm fit
Sana also says ayo Kemba sonke phakathi.
You know?
Because sister go big sister welizwe lonke ngoku. So Kemba banat.
So I think I would I'd tell my younger self that it does get harder, but you do get better.
You do get better.
You do get better. You know, you get smarter. You get to navigate better. You know, I'd give her that assurance. But it's going to get tougher, but so will you.
Sure.
So will you.
Wow, that's nice.
Because now I can bet on me.
You can bet on yourself.
I can bet on Usanga ngoku.
Girl, to funga
Yes.
on yourself is something
Yes.
else.
I can bet on me now.
Sana, I didn't even know that I could do that until I grew up.
So ndinganguye uphuma silwe for myself.
You,
yes.
honey.
Yes.
Trust, bet.
So that's what I'll tell her.
Okay, what else?
Lastly, how do you define coming home to yourself?
Ooh, coming home to myself has been liberation. It's been a breaking of many chains. It's been a breaking of generational chains. It's been a healing of generational wounds. It has been to learn to dance. It has been to learn to dream. To bet on myself as well.
Yeah.
And to not give up because I'm scared. In fact, being scared has nowadays caused me to lean into things instead of running away. Remember earlier on I said that was my default.
Correct.
Now I lean into the thing that makes me scared because I want to know. I often say, I've probably said this to you, that fear is your friend because fear is always telling you something, but it only is your friend if you're going to listen to what it's trying to tell you. And so I've learned to make fear my friend because when I fear, I know that's feedback.
Okay.
I know there's something I ought to be paying attention to.
Yeah.
And therefore, I must lean in. And every time I've done that, I've come out victorious on the other side. So coming home has been all of those things. It's been learning to live boldly. It's been learning to live in courage, with courage. And also it's been learning to not stop being the girl I've always been, you know, to be pop-up, to be njanjarach also, because I think sometimes we lose that. And because people know me as this person who's, you know, the coach and I preach and I'm not on fundis, but I preach. You know, people would always have that. So now I've become comfortable with being playful as I do the things that I do, you know. I'm not scared to be all of me anymore.
Okay.
That's what coming home has meant for me. It's also meant accepting help and asking for help.
Oh, teach me your ways.
And Luhle just came to mind when I thought about that. It's been learning to ask for help and accepting help when it's offered.
Yeah.
Because I have not always been able to get to everything or have everything in different seasons. And I've learned that you can't do life without community. You have to ask for help. And you have to make it a value to ask for help.
Okay.
Because you will perish if you don't.
Okay.
Are you done?
That was my last question, yes.
How have you felt about today?
I am doing something courageous. I don't do these things. I don't do these things. But I'm feeling a sense of I don't know, it's a deep sense of, I don't know if gratitude is the right word. I'm feeling aligned.
Gratitude is the right word.
Gratitude is the right word, right? In this journey of coming to self, I've become more intentional about my spiritual well-being, so that people don't come to dreams to tell me I'm not well. So I'm feeling that, firstly, I was fully here.
You were present.
I was fully here. And I mention that because, I mean, there's nerves around these things, but I was fully here. So I am feeling, as my feet, I feel firmly on the ground. And I feel to have such a good conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I love you so much. And thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Please like, comment, subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. Do the right thing. Love you. Bye.